We're talking about steps a little bit. We've been going through the 12 steps, and every week the goal is to talk a little bit about a new step. But every every day I wake up with the same disease. It doesn't matter what step I'm in. I have the disease of alcoholism. I have a disease that talks to me in my own voice. I have a disease that's restless, irritable, and discontent all the time until I take a first drink. Not because I need a drink, but because of my grave emotional and mental disorders, because of my unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind, because of this infantile ego that I have that never grew up, that's always in a hurry, that's easily frustrated, and that can't stand the word no. And so this is what I have. And alcohol is the best treatment for that disease. Alcohol is the thing that makes the disease better. Are you hearing me okay now? You know what? Mute your sound on your end. Sometimes that helps on my end a lot. If you mute the sound on your side, or turn it down a little bit. How's that? Is that better? You have to nod because I can't hear you. Is that better? Yes? Okay. Thanks, Dave. Oh, you're all frozen now. Sorry. I wish I was there in the room with you. So every day I wake up with this disease. I still have this disease. This disease does not go away. It talks to me, and it talks to me in my own voice. And it's the same all the time. It finds new things to get me interested in, but it's the same disease. It's the same voice. And because it sounds like me, I believe it, and I believe everything that it says. And so I'm constantly doing and saying things that I don't think I should be doing or saying, but because the disease tells me to do it, I do it. I do whatever it says because it talks to me in my own voice. And I have to know that, because if I'm just here to treat alcohol, there is no recovery in not drinking. I can never, ever, ever drink alcohol successfully ever again. But there is no recovery in just not drinking. My disease does not get treated because I didn't drink today. I can't drink today. But I have to have a program of recovery if I want my disease to be treated today. So when I get up in the morning, I start reading. And I read some spiritual literature. And I start to make a conscious contact with my higher power. Not just by reading, because reading, the ego can do the reading. The old character, the disease, can do the reading. And the disease loves to read and it loves to learn, because the disease has the delusion that one day I'm going to wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if I only manage well. And I think if I read the right book, or I go to the right church, or I go to the right AA meeting, or I have the right sponsor, or I pray facing in the right direction, that somehow those things are going to help me to manage more well. And that if I manage well, then I'll wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world. And that is a delusion. That's a lie that I tell myself that is so ingrained in me that even right now, I would be sitting in the meeting if I wasn't talking with the old character. I would be sitting in the meeting and I would be agreeing or disagreeing with whatever I'm talking about, whatever the speaker's talking about. And I would think that that was the thing to do because I need to use my mind to figure out what's true and what's false. But the truth is the truth. It doesn't need any figuring out from me. It already is the truth. And that's what trusting and relying on God is. There's a saying, know the truth and the truth will set you free. Well, the truth is principles. The truth is higher power. So if I know my higher power, knowing that will set me free. Knowing what that's capable of will set me free. And so this ties into the 11th step. But the 11th step, I can't do it in a vacuum. I can't practice prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God unless I have admitted complete defeat in step one. I've admitted that my defeat as an ongoing human concern is a complete bankruptcy, that there's no more good ideas left in me, and that I stand ready to do anything which will lift my merciless obsession. And my merciless obsession is to be self-satisfied. Without that, I can't improve my conscious contact with God, because I'm not interested in improving my conscious contact with God. I'm interested in improving my material success in the material world that I live in. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in having more money in the bank, or having a better wife, or better kids, or a better house. I'm not interested in having a better relationship with God and trying to seek and do God's will. That's if I'm not admitting complete defeat, there's none of that. So that's why it's so the disease is so cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it gets me, and it tells me, it says, yeah, pray. You should pray. Pray for a better job. Well, if I have the idea that I'm praying for a better job, who's telling me that the job I have is not a good job? Who's telling me that? My disease is telling me that. And I'm being run by self. And so I'm praying for a better job because I think God must have fallen asleep and doesn't realize that I'm in the wrong job and that I need some help to wake God up so that he could help me find a better job. Now, I'm not saying that you're in the wrong job if you don't like the job you're in, or you're in the right job. But the idea that I'm gonna pray to God to change my job, and that somehow God's gonna hear that and listen, and then he's gonna change my job because he was helping somebody else at the time, and he lost track of what I was doing and didn't realize that he had me stuck in the wrong job. Doesn't that sound a little crazy? The 11th step says that I'm going to pray for knowledge of his will for me. But I spent my whole life praying for God to have better knowledge of my will for him. Oh, that's like, wow. I'm just having an experience with this right now myself. So I don't know what's going on over there, but right now in this moment, I'm having a little bit of a spiritual awakening that my prayers have always been to wake God up for all of the mistakes that he's making in my life. And the truth of the matter is that my life only changes in the moment when I become grateful and accepting of my life exactly the way it is right now. It's such a dichotomy that I think that by being unsatisfied with where I am, that's going to motivate me to become a better man. But the disease can't become a better man. It only has what it has. It's a closed mind. It's already built. It is what it is. The only way I can become a new man and a better man is to have an open mind. A mind with no old ideas, no opinions. Then I can have an experience of being open right now to what's possible right now in God's world, not mine. And so the prayer and the meditation is, God, show me your will for me and give me the power to carry that out. And it's only for this moment right now. If God tells you to do something next week, you better ask him again next week. God's will for me is only his will for me right now in this moment. So it's so simple because we're in a meeting, right? I always say that saying at the end of the second step. I think we're going to read it after I stop talking, but every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore me to sanity if I rightly relate myself to him. So this is it. This is the meeting. This is the time to be rightly relating myself to my higher power. This is the time to be praying and meditating. This is the time to be asking for help. Could you help me, God? Could you help me to hear what's being said? Could you help me to be the person that you want me to be today? Not because I care. I don't care if you're listening. I don't care if you went on a trip to Hawaii during this whole meeting and you haven't heard a word I said. Because I'm not here for you. I'm here for my recovery. I'm here because my disease needs a treatment. But what's possible is if I'm in a room and there's a speaker, why wouldn't it be God's will that I hear what's being said, whether it's good or bad? Why would it be the idea that it would be God's will for me to drive all the way across London and sit in a little room and then fantasize about my job or my wife or my money in the bank or what I'm going to do tomorrow or what happened yesterday? That to me doesn't really feel like what I think God's will is for me. I think God's will is for me to be right here, right now, in this room, 100% present right now. And the only way I can do that is by asking for help. It's by saying, God, could you be with me? Could you help me? Could you help me have a new experience? I wish I could go to a meeting. I used to think I could go to a meeting and I could hear a speaker and then I could practice what they said later. I even used to take notes in meetings. I used to write notes down, but then when I walk in the house and the dishes aren't done, I don't know what page to look on in my notes to figure out how I'm supposed to act. And so self takes right over and says, what the hell is going on in this house? Why aren't these dishes done? And my life explodes and it becomes miserable. So taking notes isn't the answer. Learning isn't the answer. Being in a conscious contact with my higher power right now, sodding through prayer and meditation in this moment right now is the only answer. Because what the book says is that deep down inside me is where the great reality is. It says everything I need is inside of me. I'm going to read one thing and then I'll shut up. It's actually in step 10, but it's right before we start step 11. So it says, much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him, from my higher power, who has all knowledge and power. So if God has all knowledge and power, and God is inside of me, and I'm saying God, but I mean higher power or something. If that's true, and all knowledge and power is inside of me, and I can receive the strength and inspiration and direction from Him, why would I consult me? Why wouldn't I ask Him what I should do right now? Or her, or it, or whatever you relate to as your higher power, because it's not my higher power you need to relate to. Doesn't matter what I believe, it's what you have believed, what you've come to believe in step 2. What you've come to believe restores you to sanity. So long as it's not you, then it's something. Something is restoring me to sanity right here, right now. And step 11 is my attempt to go deeper into that relationship with something. And that something has all knowledge and all power, so I don't need to have any anymore. I don't ever need to rely on my thinking ever again. And I have grave emotional and mental disorders, and I have a warped mind because of alcoholism. And when I trust and rely on my higher power, I have the best life I've ever known. And I'm having it right now. I'm having the best life I've ever known right here, right now in this moment. And I thank you so much for letting me share. And I'm looking forward to hearing all of you talk about how you connect to your higher power and ask for His inspiration and strength and direction. So thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Randy.